A person asked Maharshi Ramana, that man of the world that we are, we have some kind of grief or another and do not know how to get over it. We pray to God and still are not satisfied. What can we do? Maharshi replied, trust God. Questioner asked, we surrender, but still there is no help. Maharshi replied, yes, if you have surrendered, you must be able to abide by the will of God and not make a grievance of what may not please you. Things may turn out differently from what they look apparently. Distress often leads man to faith in God. The person said, but we are worldly. There is the wife, there are children, friends, and relatives. We cannot ignore their existence and resign ourselves to divine will without retaining some little of the personality in us. Maharshi replied, that means you have not surrendered as professed by you. You must only trust God. Person asked, Maharshi, can one think without the mind? Is it possible to gain that consciousness which is beyond thoughts? Maharshi replied, yes, there is only one consciousness which subsists in the waking, dream, and sleep states. In sleep there is no I. The I thought arises on waking, and then the world appears. Where was this I in sleep? Was it there or was it not? It must have been there also, but not in the way that you feel now. The present is only the I thought, whereas the sleeping I is the real I. It subsists all through. It is consciousness. If it is known, you will see that it is beyond thoughts. Person asked, can we think without the mind? Maharshi replied, thoughts may be like any other activities, not disturbing to the supreme consciousness. Person asked, can one read others' minds? The master as usual told him to find his self before worrying about others. Where are others apart from one's own self? Asked the master. Person asked, how shall we correlate the higher experience with the lower experience, meaning spiritual experience with mundane affairs? Maharshi replied, there is only one experience. What are the worldly experiences? But those built up on the false I. Ask the most successful man of the world if he knows his self. He will say no. What can anyone know without knowing the self? All worldly knowledge is built upon such a flimsy foundation. So the person asked, how to know the real I as distinct from the false I? Maharshi replied, is there anyone who is not aware of himself? Each one knows, but yet does not know the self. A strange paradox. The master added later, if the inquiry is made whether mind exists, it will be found that the mind does not exist. That is control of mind. Otherwise, if the mind is taken to exist and one seeks to control it, it amounts to mind controlling the mind. Just like a thief turning out to be a policeman to catch the thief, that is, himself. Mind persists in that way alone, but eludes itself.